beyond few crores, I don't need money. And it starts giving you negative effect than the positive. I don't want to pass on that poison to my son.
A web series that created massive buzz around for its topic, brilliant casting, and addictive soundtrack that resonated with audiences was the recently released SonyLIV web series Scam 1992, directed by Jia and Hansal Mehta. The web series is based on the book The Scam: Who Won, Who Lost, Who Got Away, written by Sucheta Dalal and Debashish Basu. The series focuses on the meteoric rise of Harshad Mehta, from an ordinary jobber to being referred to as Amitabh Bachchan of Bombay Stock Exchange. The series follows the personal and professional journey of Harshad from 1979 to his ultimate downfall in the 90s, alongside the investigative journalism of Sucheta Dalal, exploring and understanding the financial sector of India. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the series so that you can ultimately decide whether this series is worth your time on SonyLIV or not. Before I get into the series, I just wanted to give you a small summary of the convoluted yet seamless way in which Harshad Mehta functioned in the trade as well as the money market that ultimately came to bite him in the ass. As banks need a minimum amount of government securities enforced by the RBI, they would often trade amongst each other through brokers, the most notorious of them all being Harshad Mehta, promising government securities to weaker banks who would write checks to his personal account. Mehta would borrow from stronger banks and promise them higher returns than they were used to, funneling this excess cash into the stock market. In that gestation period, Mehta, with excess liquidity, could manipulate stock prices on the basis of his convenience. And this ecosystem and environment of trust, where weaker banks would get their government securities and stronger banks would get higher returns through Mehta, extended into becoming a chain of multiple banks and institutions. It is when greed took over and Mehta started borrowing from banks with fake bank receipts backed by government securities that didn't exist, while conspiring with bank officials, where his attempt at manipulating the system for his convenience started getting exposed and the wall started closing in. If you want an in-depth analysis of the volume in which the scam was functioning in the trading and money market, I would highly recommend you check out the video by VRD Nation on YouTube. Now let's get to the series. The underwhelming aspects. Before I get to the demerits of the web series, it's important to note that the 2 points I will be talking about were necessary for such material to be truly fleshed out. It's not technically a flaw of the series, but important to be pointed out to know what exactly to look forward to when you watch Scam 1992. Lengthy. The series is 10 episodes long, with each episode that conservatively ranges from 43 minutes to over an hour in some cases. As I previously said, this is nothing but a cautionary take on the volume of characters, dialogues, and complexity of several factions working in unison, side by side or against the protagonist that you will be subjected to. The brilliant part about the web series is that it justifies its length, as the topic it focuses on needs you to fully understand the scope of what is at stake. Therefore, it balances political influence, Indian history, social structure, the personal and professional life of many players in the game that were a part of Harshad Mehta's journey. You will never find a moment where the series unnecessarily drags a subplot to not already contribute to further develop the story. You may find the subplot of a personal friend that is naive and has blind faith on Harshad, and this mysterious religious figure with political influence to maybe in parts slow the narrative or give you flashes of RGV, Sarkar and Jeeva's character. I assure you, however, while knowing these aspects, the series is totally worth the investment of time. Information dense. Another feature, again, which is just a caution before you invest time on the series, is that the dialogue through the episodes are extremely information dense. If you are not privy to the scam of Harshad Mehta or have not explored the odd but fascinating world of Dalal Street, you may find the written material overwhelming, especially with respect to the terminology used in trade as well as the banking sector. If you are a trade enthusiast or at the minimum a commerce student, the information is a goldmine in trying to understand how various financial sectors function. Even for a viewer like me who is keen on learning several facets of the financial sector, I saw myself pausing in moments and researching about historical evidence of various topics. From the legalities of insider trading in India, the importance of BRs and SGLs in the banking sector, the difference between the trade and money market, the written material is complex, dense, and very well well researched. So be ready to imbibe a lot of information through the dialogues of characters. The good. Music and production design. I mean, how can I talk about this series and not mention the addictive theme music composed by Achint Thakkar? It's literally the first thing that grabbed the attention of the viewers when its teaser came out. I would highly recommend you check out his other work as well. He is an extremely talented musician who creates a lot of fusion tracks. My current favorite on his channel is Savan Mod Mohara, which you can check out on YouTube. Another brilliant aspect of the series, just like the Hotstar series Arya, is the integration of vintage Bollywood music in the series. Each episode ends with 80s or 90s commercial Hindi music, appropriate to the mood in which the episode concludes. A very clever and inventive touch by the director. The series successfully transports you to Bombay as well, and its landscape from the 80s to the 90s, from cramped up dwellings in Ghatkopar to the intimidating presence of the 28th-floor BSC, all presented with attention to detail with respect to the timeline in which it is set. From the indoor chain-smoking corporate establishments, the vintage cars, to the slow advancement of technology as the years go by. Production designers Payal Ghosh and Tarpan Srivastav have done a phenomenal job. Integration of history and balance of subplots. What I love about the series is its seamless way of integrating history and known individuals in the story, and how it ultimately affects the life and journey of Harshad Mehta. From the state of the economy in the 80s, the assassination of Indira Gandhi, the almost unaffected position of the BSC as the country was in flames, the impact of financial policy, especially post the end of the license Raj, or change of political power and how it affects who comes under the scanner or is let go. We have cameo appearances from prominent figures of the 80s and 90s, coming in and out of scenes with no grandeur or shock, as it should be, for any piece set in a particular time period. We see Manmohan Singh, R.K. Lakshman and even Ram Jethmalani in this world, which makes it 10 times more interesting. The ability of Jia and Hansal Mehta to not completely drift away from engaging us and making us wanting even more is truly exceptional. The cast. This is a marvelous casting execution by Mukesh Chhabda's team. There isn't a single element, I mean literally no actor that puts a foot wrong in this web series. While I can't possibly name everyone in the series, but I would like to just mention who stood out to me as the biggest surprise packages. Anand Mahadevan as the RBI governor shows great restraint and calmness in his role. Nikhil Dwivedi and Shadab Khan as influential financial players in the game, constantly threatened by Harshad's growing influence, lend a human touch, while technically being antagonists. Rajat Kapoor, even though appears in the latter half of the series, puts forth a brilliant impression as the intimidating CBI officer in charge. Some of my favorite performances other than the two main leads also include Jay Upadhyay, a force of nature as a performer that consistently tells Harshad to let loose a little, Chirag Vora as the vulnerable and opportunistic colleague who is impulsive and emotional in a portfolio that only demands pragmatism, Satish Kaushik as the veteran in the trade market is absolutely hilarious, constantly swearing and irked by anyone trying to steal his throne. His denouncement of any form of cleverness just left me in splits. The show stealers of this series, however, are the people who play Sucheta Dalal and Harshad Mehta. Shreya Dhanwantary in her career's best role as a journalist, Sucheta Dalal, truly trying to understand the various facets of the financial sector of India, seeking for the truth, doing some journalism which is absent today, maybe just for her own benefit of breaking news or a spicy scoop, is so natural and convincing. She functions and thrives in a male-dominated world and does not succumb to playing victim. She knows how to get the job done, even if it means to come at loggerheads with the most influential figures of the society. Shreya truly needs to be seen and more work ahead. I have to say, what a revolutionary casting decision it is when it comes to Pratik Gandhi, a proven Gujarati actor cast because of 1, his acting talent, and 2, because he is simply perfect for the role of Harshad Mehta. This is the beauty of the OTT space that is not dependent on the pressure of box office returns, that is recognizing talent and casting them solely on that basis. Pratik Gandhi showcases a beautiful range in the series of a character that experiences all the dimensions of what humans go through. Aspiration, greed, regret, jealousy, arrogance. Pratik Gandhi is like water in this series, fits the shape of any situation the role demands. This will be remembered as one of the best casting decisions in recent times, an actor showcased on a global scale in a majority communicated language of the country that will put him on a pedestal and hopefully leverage him to get compelling work ahead. One can we say about the pieces of work in the Hindi language that we actually learned something new. those experiences are few and far between. Scam 1992 is not only educational but important to provide you context of exactly the magnitude of the people and the industries that work in cohesion with one another as we go on and live our merry lives ignorant of most things. Beyond just the specifics of industries and terminology, it tells you about human tendencies and the detrimental effects of boundless ambition. How an opportunistic and driven human can falter so badly on the journey while still being provided caution constantly. The series in no way absolves Harshad Mehta of his crimes or completely demonize him. It does justice to showing him as a human with flaws, as any creative piece should be, with nuance and grey shades. This is a masterclass by Jia and Hansal Mehta, a performance by Pratik Gandhi that will give Abhishek Bachchan a run for his money. A harsh reality is that everyone will refer to this iconic performance by Gandhi after Abhishek's Big Bull releases this month. I know it already. Scam 1992 definitely is one of the best series that has come out this year, and it is truly worth your time and money on SonyLIV. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the series. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.